Welcome back to the college show presented by Dynasty Nerds. I am your host, Garrett Price, and we have a full house today. Everybody and their brother decided to show up today. Everyone's here. Everyone's ready to hang out. Let's go around the room here. Let's start off with J-Wack. J-Wack, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Sad I had to miss last week's show, but you guys did a really good job covering the wide receivers. But man, it's so good to be back. How are you guys doing?
Good to have you back, man.
So I am good. I am ready to mock. This is my first mock draft of this class. I've actually got some resemblance of a big board, so I feel like I halfway know what I'm doing. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah,
that was our guy Jagger May, and then Andrew Mott. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Same thing as Jagger. It's first mock draft of the year, I guess. It'll be the first of many by the time that prospect season really wraps itself up. But not a big board. I got a list of names though. We're gonna pick from today. That's for sure.
I feel you, dude. I'm in the same boat.
We were, if you've been following along, you're like, okay, quarterback show, running back show, wide receiver show. Time for a tight end show, right? Well, hate to break your heart here, but unfortunately, most people don't enjoy tight end only content. So instead, we might sneak a tight end or two into this mock draft. That's right, the first mock draft of the year for most people. If they're really looking into the 2026 class, most people have not gotten into mocks yet, and we're like, you know what, we think it's time. We're about getting close to that halfway point of the college football season, and we're starting to see some things solidify. Some names that were bigger names to start the year have dropped a little bit. Some names have kind of come out of relatively nowhere to really rise up boards, and this is a fun time to really kind of start to, I don't want to say flat plant, but at least start to say like, hey, I'm really leaning more heavily toward this guy. Yes, I still need to do a lot more tape study. Yes, I still need to dig into all the details and things like that. But you're starting to get some vibes from some guys that you're like, okay, I like this. I don't like this. So we're going to go 2 rounds, not just one, 2 rounds. This is super flex rookie 2026 draft, 2026 rookie draft. So we'll start off with Jagger. Jagger, I gave you the first pick. I don't know if that was kind of me or
we're doing it live
to do it, but
we're doing it live too, man. It's like this is right here in front of us.
No time to like, oh yeah, I took this guy, let me talk about. No, you got to decide right now in the moment who you want.
It's been written in stone. I was like, I literally said I hope I get the first pick or at least the second pick, because Dante Moore in Superflex is my 101 right now. I was all in on Garrett Nussmeier, and this isn't a slight to him. Just the upside of Dante Moore is like phenomenal. I was texting Jared ahead of time here. This guy's got a rocket on an arm. Right now, his ball placement is just NFL level. We already know what Dan Lanning has done to develop quarterbacks. Say what you want about Dylan Gabriel. It's physical tools with him, but especially mentally between the ears with processing, I just love what I'm seeing so far. And I have a hard time seeing me dropping him much further unless he just has a full-blown crash out, which is very possible. I've watched a lot of college football over the years. It could get bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, he's somebody that has really climbed up boards. And I think that's the interesting thing about this class right now. Coming into the year, it was some people were talking about Arch Manning, although many of us thought there's a good chance he doesn't come out this year. And there's kind of been more to confirm that. So it's either him or Nussmeier, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now I've been looking through different mocks, and it's really interesting to see where people have certain players. I have seen upwards of 5 to 6 different quarterbacks be labeled as the top quarterback in the class or taken at the top of a rookie mock. So nothing will surprise me today. For you watching, there might be something that surprises you. You're like, holy cow, I did not expect that guy to get taken this high. But there is a lot of quarterbacks available that could be good, but there's no like surefire slam dunk. This is the guy at this point. So very, very interesting. Andrew, let's move over to you with the 102.
Yeah, I am a little bit surprised with the Dante Moore. I had him higher in my rankings. I had him as like a top 5 quarterback in this class, but I didn't have him as my 101. The guy I did have as the 101 is Garrett Nussmeier. And I know you kind of just touched on him, but to me, he feels like the safest quarterback in this class. Definitely a player who is, good in the pocket, does have a little bit of mobility to him, good arm, good accuracy. Like when I'm looking at a guy that today I can say he's going to be a first-round pick come April. It's going to be Garrett Nussmeier for me. So in a Superflex league, I'm just going to take him, like I said, safe quarterback production, and I'll rely on him, I guess, as my first guy here in this draft.
Yeah, definitely the biggest name of the group, a guy that we've been hearing about for a little bit now. And you have him playing at LSU, which obviously is a nice boost. You know, he's playing against great competition. Lots of things to like. Would any of you guys at this point be opposed to, like, you know, obviously, Jagger, you didn't take him number one, but would you be upset if you had the number one and you ended up with Nussmeier, or does everyone feel fairly comfortable with him?
Yeah, like what Mott said was, like, to me, I'm about that risky business so far. Maybe in a couple of weeks, it'll be a little bit more consensus as to who's the top two guys. Garrett Nussmeier is the safest prospect right now. I just feel like at quarterback, and I do not hate that at all. This is a mock, guys. This is a simulation, so I'm willing to get risky right now.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't be shocked if Nussmeier, and I don't think you guys would either, if he ends up being the number one pick in the NFL draft.
I don't,
Not at all.
not even close to being shocked, like, because he's safe. Like I said, I feel bad because someone's gonna be a Brown. It's who? Well, sorry, Garrett.
Hey, slow down. They got one of the best defenses in the NFL. So hey,
that's right.
We might not have the first overall pick, but no, I like Garrett Nussmeier. I think he's fine. I don't think he has like the best arm talent in the class. Like, he's accurate, but I think there are some hesitations with me just on like the velocity that he throws with. But other than that, I mean, I think he has what you're looking for, but not going to get you any points on the ground either. So I know I'm up next, Garrett. So I'll pass it to myself here. And I just want to say, I'm really pissed Jagger took Dante Moore. So I was sitting here before the show, like getting ready for it. And I know I was on the road last week, but Jagger sent like his link to his big board. So I was like, all right, let me check this out. I saw Dante Moore sitting up top, and I was like, damn it. I texted him. I was like, Dante Moore, man, he's the truth, dude. He's got it all, man. He's got the tools. He's got the arm strength, ball placement, and he's got the athleticism to get yards on the ground. So I was hoping I'd be able to take him here and talk about him, but I like that pick. I could definitely see him being the first one to go. So I'm gonna take Lenore Sellers here. This is a super flex mock draft, so quarterbacks are going first. He's going to get you those points on the ground. Really good athlete. We talked about him in our quarterback show. I could see him coming back another year. I think it would serve him well to do so and get a little more experience. But I mean, he's got the arm talent too, dude. He can rope it like from his back foot, falling away and pretty much do everything. He does need to improve the accuracy and the consistency there, but yeah, I think from a fantasy football standpoint, Lenore Sellers is one of those guys like you want to have because he's a weapon on the ground.
No, I agree with you on the fact that everything that you're saying, I hope he stays one more year.
Yeah, me
because
too.
Then in 2027, he's going to be the Superflex 101 if he has that one more year.
Jeremiah Smith, though, I don't know.
Actually, yeah, I've actually forgot about that.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah might be 101.
Yeah, but no, like QB one, yeah.
It'd be a tough one to top. So Sellers, obviously, you get that dual threat. Really, really interesting prospect. One of the highest ceilings of all the players that we're going to be able to talk about here. I'm started to make a pick, and I was like, I haven't had to talk about it yet. So just kidding. I'm going to go back because I wanted to play it risky like you guys did. I did. And then I was like, we've already had 3 quarterbacks go, and there's a player that I feel very, very confident in, despite it not being a quarterback and it being super flex. Jeremiyah Love is just, I mean, he's at this point the safest, most secure running back that we have in this class. He's got a shot to be a day one guy, but he's locked and loaded as a top 50 pick in the NFL draft. I think this year, his electric playmaking ability is just a perfect fit for how the NFL is being played today. Cam Scattaboo the other day mentioned I wish I was born 20 years earlier because it'd be a perfect fit for, back then, blah, blah, blah. Well, Jeremiyah Love is the perfect fit for how they're using running backs today. So I love Jeremiyah Love. I think he's going to be a very solid prospect. And I just at this point don't see any other running back even getting close to his draft capital. We'll see. There's a couple guys that they could still have their stock rise a little bit. So we'll see. But at this point, I think he's in a clear tier for me at this point. So I'll go with Jeremiyah Love here at 104. Did any other position player, we'll not even say Jeremiyah Love, did any other position player even cross your guys' mind when you three guys took your quarterbacks? Or was it, yeah, this is the guy, and I'm pretty set with it?
I was set, but I think
set.
Jeremiyah Love should have been 103 or 104 where you had him. Like, if that's what you're trying to get through. Like, I feel really good about two quarterbacks, then I would just rather have Love. And or if I'm in a real draft, if someone else wants to reach on a quarterback, hey man, I'll trade back and take Jeremiyah Love a pick after, you know? So.
Yeah. I was kind of the same way as Jagger. Garrett Nussmeier was my 101, so I just ended up grabbing him at the 102. I felt like I was lucky to grab him. And so other than that, like the other names I would have looked at would have been Sellers and Love. So you guys kind of went right to the next two names that I would have been looking at myself.
J-Wack, did he even cross your mind or no?
When Sellers, I mean, if Mott would have taken Sellers at 2, I probably would have taken Love before Nussmeier. But no, I mean, since this is super flex, like we're kind of swinging for the quarterbacks that we see high upside with. But like as far as a sure thing, like Love's like I feel pretty confident that he's gonna be a first round pick. These quarterbacks, there's still a lot to be figured out. So I mean, you could argue that he should be the 101 since at this point right now in the season. But no, I like Love. I think it's a good pick there.
All right, so we've all gotten one guy so far. That puts us back with Jagger here. Jagger, who are you gonna take at 105?
I'm gonna switch positions here, and I'm gonna go with wide receiver, and I'm gonna go Carnell Tate here. Again, I'm going with safety over anything, and especially positional safety over running backs at this point, because Jeremiyah Love is the safest. Then we have question marks afterwards. So if I'm in a draft at this point, I'm probably hammering these receivers that we have up, and feeling really good. I talked about on the wide receiver episode last week that I think Tate is one of these safer ones. I know that we see Marvin Harrison Jr. struggling, but like imagine if Marvin Harrison Jr. just didn't drop the ball, and that's what I'm hoping that Carnell Tate does for us a little bit. So.
Yeah, no, very, very solid, very, very safe prospect. And that's a big theme that, we've kind of been talking about here. And that's really important to me in the early part of my rookie drafts. If I'm picking inside the top 6 or so, I can't miss. Like, you're down there more than likely for a reason. You either suck or you traded for a pick in there because you suck and you need more draft picks. So chances are every once in a while you get lucky and you get a top 6 pick and you're like, oh, I won the ship, but I also got this dude's pick and I get to pick 4th. But for the most part, you really can't miss inside the top 6 because that sets you back. You were already behind the 8 ball for an entire year, and then you get your best asset not contributing for you. So I completely understand with going with a prospect that I feel really good, really safe with. And that was part of the reason I didn't take the guy at 104 that I was going to take and took Jeremiyah Love for that safety. So you have Carnell Tate going here. And now, Andrew, you're on the clock. What position are you going with here?
Yeah, I'm going right back to wide receiver as well. I'm going to take my wide receiver one in the class, Jordyn Tyson. Just think it's a really, really good player. I think he's going to be a first-round wide receiver when it's all said and done. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised to see him be a top 15 to 20-ish pick in the NFL draft. I just think he's that talented of a guy. Great hands, good route runner, insane body control. The medical history is a little bit murky, but I'm not going to, ding him too much. I think he's, to me, at least at this point in time, he's my clear wide receiver one in this class. So I'm very happy to get him here at the 106.
Jared, you didn't get a chance to talk your wide receivers. Would Tyson and Tate, would they be somewhere in your top 2 to 3 wide receivers here? Or do you have kind of a little bit of a different order?
Yeah, I think they're in my top 3. Like I have Tyson at 1, then I had Brazell, however you say it, at 2 as of right now. And then Tate's kind of just there because I have had the opportunity to watch every Buckeyes game. So I've seen him and I like him, but I did listen to like what you had to say, Garrett, cause you dug in a little more. And so I am a little curious as to what I would think of him after like actually watching all 22, which I haven't had the chance to do yet.
Sure.
So a lot of these guys, since I wasn't doing that show, I didn't
still up in the
prepare for the show as much.
Sure. No pressure, but give me your top 10 right now, Jared.
But
all right, so that puts you back up. And who are you taking at 107?
Yeah, so I'm going running back, and I'm going Jonah Coleman. So when we did the running back show, I had Justice Haynes as my RB2, which I still really like him. But the more I watch Jonah Coleman, like the more I like him. And he has a huge test this weekend versus Ohio State. So I'll be glued to the TV for that one and really paying attention to him. I mean, he's 5'9", 220. He's got good size, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield, make people miss. I just think he's like a really solid running back that can do a little more and get you a little more yards than what's just given to him. I could see him being a early day two pick, and I think he's going to be a fantasy football contributor for us come next year.
No, I totally agree. I think he could be a difference maker. Andrew, what are your thoughts on Jonah Coleman?
I like Jonah Coleman too. He's a player that I currently have as my running back 3 in the class. I think this is just a player who's very solid running back, kind of a bruiser, just a freight engine, it feels like, when he gets the football in his hands. So I definitely like him. I probably would have had one guy ahead of him, but I don't hate the pick at all here. Like I said, he's my RB3. I would have probably taken Nick Singleton as my RB2.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nick Singleton's one of and he fits the. We'll get to him later. I don't need to talk about.
Yeah,
that.
we'll get to him later. But Nick Singleton is my RB2 in the class at the moment.
I feel like that's more chalky, probably.
Yeah. Jonah Coleman, for me, it's the same thing. I feel really safe about him. I've seen so much tape of Jonah Coleman where like there's just no way. I don't think he goes day 2. He could get Caleb Johnson in Shadow Realm. That is always a possibility. So, But I like Jonah Coleman.
You don't think he goes day 2?
I think he goes day 2 for sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Caleb Johnson went day 2, but he just went to Arthur Smith's dungeon. You know,
yeah,
he got an Arthur Smith's van.
Well, the first week wasn't too good for him, and he muffed that kick return.
Did not help. Did not help at all. All right, I'm up at 108, and I almost took this guy at 104, and then my inner self was like, "Hey, Garrett, maybe you should take a safer guy and not just go to the ceiling right away." And I was like, okay. And I still get him here at 108. So it worked out. The guys were nice and let me still have him. So I went with Fernando Mendoza here at 108. This is the Indiana quarterback that was the transfer from Cal. And look, last week, I don't know if Illinois was just highly, highly overvalued or if Indiana's really that good or if it's somewhere in between. And we'll find out because there's some big games coming up still for Fernando Mendoza and the Indiana Hoosiers. They've got Oregon. They've got Penn State coming up a few weeks after that. So there's some Iowa this week, which is usually a pretty solid defense. But Mendoza right now, 16 total touchdowns, 14 through the air, 2 on the ground, and no interceptions. So he has been crazy, crazy good. Currently one of, if not the Heisman front runner, depending on the platform that you're looking at. A guy that has all of the prototypical size that you're looking at, great arm strength, does still struggle a little bit under pressure. That's why I'm really, really curious to watch him against some of these better defenses. I want to see how he does with some pressure in his face. Not necessarily a mobile quarterback, but he can do enough and he can get around and make some plays there. So definitely a guy with a lot of upside, and he's starting to sneak towards the top. I looked at 2 different mocks today that had him inside the top 3, and one of them had him number 1 overall. So definitely a guy climbing up the boards. We touched on him quickly in our quarterback episode. Any one of you 3 want to say anything more about Mendoza, or should we just move on?
I'll just say I need to watch more of this season. Everyone raising him up so high is a bit shocking to me. I just don't like. I thought he was a worse Drew Allar, but it seems that Drew Allar is the worst Drew Allar now, and Fernando Mendoza has kind of swapped.
I think he's more accurate for sure than Allar, and but he's got the similar size that you get from him. But I think the Illinois game was really big for him. Like he looked really good in that game with his ball placement and just on time. You can tell he knows where he needs to go with the football. So I can see why people are moving him up. I do that's the only game I've watched of him, and I was impressed. Like a ball kind of like pops out of his hand and just throws a really catchable, pretty looking ball. So I don't hate it here at all, Garrett.
Definitely an upside play. All right, Jagger, who are you going with at 109?
I'm so hyped. KC Concepcion here. He is my wide receiver 2, which is a hot take. I feel about KC Concepcion how I felt about Zay Flowers in 2023. And I think he's a little bit more athletic than Zay Flowers is and what he can do for an offense. I think he can take the top off. I think he can play out and flex out and play Z. He's going to be playing a lot of slot. We know he can get in right away and play special teams. This may not be the sexy pick for anyone else. I just feel really confident about what I see on tape. I wouldn't be surprised to see a tight end start to creep up here ahead of him, though, to spoiler alert. So,
spoiler alert. All right, Andrew, that puts you back on the clock at 110 here. And all your other picks, you were ready. You knew exactly what you wanted. This one, it seems like it's taking you a little more time to try to decide, who do I take here?
Yeah, I've been deciding, do I want to dip back into the quarterback well and kind of take a shot on upside or traits at the quarterback well, or do I just want to go with a player that I think is going to be a very good player for fantasy at the next level? And I'm going to go with Antonio Williams, wide receiver out of Clemson. He just feels to me, we talked about safe players. This is a player that I said on our wide receiver episode that kind of felt a little Zay Flowers-ish. He could play out of the slot, really good route runner, good yak ability, maybe a little bit undersized, and does have some medical history as well with some soft tissue and things like that, which is slightly concerning. But I think when it comes to like PPR guys in a fantasy league that you want that are going to come in and score points, Antonio Williams feels very safe. So I'm just going to take him here. And this is a player for me who is my wide receiver 3 in the class.
All right.
I watched the tape finally, and I see it.
You like it?
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. This puts JWAC back on the clock. And JWAC, I know that you texted me and you were like, hey, make sure you watch this guy, but you better get him in the wide receiver episode or else.
Basically. Yeah, you all did. Like,
we
I should know you're not living under a rock.
But it was a good heads up though. Who you got?
Yeah, so I'm going upside here. I almost took the tight end I think Jagger is talking about. And I'm going upside with Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazell. 6'5", 200 pounds. And man, this dude has exceptional movement skills for his size. Like he's not just like one of these big body guys that's gonna, size you up in the red zone and win jump balls. Like he can move, and with movement skills like that, with that size and his ability to track the ball down the field and make a play on it is pretty special. And there's still a lot to be seen because he's kind of just coming on the scene now this year. But he's leading college football in touchdowns at the receiver position with 6. He's up there in receiving yards with 426 already this year. I'm trying not to helmet scout this in this offense because I really liked a couple. Who else came out? Cedric Tillman. I liked a little bit, and he's starting to produce now. And then Jalen Hyatt. Yeah, dude. So I liked Hyatt coming out a little more than I should have, obviously. So I'm just trying not to like look at him in the Tennessee offense and get misguided. But I like Brazell here. I'm probably going to move up from 111 eventually if he continues to put the season that he's having right now, if he continues to play this way. So what do you guys think? I'm curious to hear.
I think he can be wide receiver too, to be honest. Like I just don't have all 22, but I like everything I've seen a lot.
You will soon.
You will very, very soon. There's just very few players that have his size and movement ability. Like those two things just don't come together every day. I'm excited to watch the All-22 because I want to see, me in the ball skills. I want to see what the ball skills are like. But the movement skills are there, and the size is there. So pretty good combination. Any thoughts from you, Andrew, on him?
I'll be honest. I haven't watched enough of him to have a strong opinion on him at this point in time. I know on the wide receiver episode, I said that I needed to watch a little more Brazell, and haven't got to it yet.
More Brazell dazzle in your life yet?
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to Jagger. Or no, it's to me. I get to go. I forgot. I get to pick here, and I'm a little surprised that this guy's still left. And after watching his tape, I was thoroughly impressed with Makai Lemon, wide receiver, USC. You talk about helmet scouting. USC has a tradition of just putting out really, really good, really, really solid wide receivers. And Makai Lemon is different than a lot of the wide receivers that they've recently put out. He is electric. I mean, he is absolutely electric with the ball in his hands, can do things over the middle of the field. You can line him up in the slot. You can line him up outside, and he just wins. He just wins. So I think this is a player that could, at the next level, in the right offense, offer some extremely, extremely high point potential with the right quarterback, with the right scheme, because the way that he can move, the way that he can get open, and then the yards after the catch are just really, really impressive for a guy like this. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on Makai Lemon, but everything I've seen so far points to him being a really good player at the next level. So I talked about Lemon. Now we can go to you, Jagger, and you can tell us. Well, actually, let me recap the first round real quick for everybody before we go into the second round. So at 101, we had Dante Moore, Garrett Nussmeier at 102, Lenore Sellers at 103. At 104, we had Jeremiyah Love. 105, we had Carnell Tate. 106, Jordyn Tyson. 107, Jonah Coleman. 108, Fernando Mendoza. At 109, we had Concepcion. At 111, Antonio Williams. At 110, Antonio Williams. At 111, Chris Brazell. And then at 112, Makai Lemon. Hey, Nerd Herd, want to tell you about a show that we've been doing live on YouTube where we go over your teams and we talk about how to fix your broken roster. It's called Roster Rescue. We do it live every single Monday at noon Eastern time. And if you want to get a part of that, just head to our Dynasty Nerds homepage, go under the store tab, and you'll find Roster Rescue right there. Perfect opportunity to get your rosters in shape before the season or even in the middle of the season to make sure that you can win a championship. So
Jagger, do you have Carnell Tate, wide receiver 1?
Yeah,
he does.
Okay. I thought you had Concepcion, wide receiver 1 last
Get him
week.
at 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: he's 1B just because he's a wee boy, and I know that.
Just a little lad, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Mine, looking at this board, man. QBs are doing a lot of heavyweight here because I think Justice Haynes is a first-round dynasty rookie pick in most cases here, and I'm getting him at the 201. I'm having a hard time because like Wackerly has a guy that I want later. I think a quarterback could go here as well, but Justice Haynes he looks like Trevion Henderson in a rival jersey, man. I'm not trying to. I don't like to comp players off of players who just got in the NFL, but he literally looks like the same film that I watched on there. He just looks explosive. The only thing that I don't have on him to put him as highly as Trevion Henderson is that receiving work that we saw in that third down, basically third down in general. I don't quite have it, but as far as a explosive one cut runner, I love everything I've seen from Haynes.
Yeah, I would have taken him actually at 111. I just didn't realize he was still left because I figured we'd taken him at this point. It's like the quarterbacks are throwing me off too because this is the first mock I'm done. So I like Haynes a lot. So I think I don't think he's as explosive as Trevion because Trevion was like super, super fast. But I do. He's had a ton of explosive plays this year. So he's kind of proven that he does have that getaway speed.
Absolutely. All right, Andrew, who do you got at 202, man?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it earlier. My running back 2 in the class right now is chalky, what Jared called it, but it's Nick Singleton. So I ended up taking him right here. I feel like it was just, for me, best player available, a player who has a ton of bursts, a ton of explosiveness. We're talking about like home run ability at the next level. I just feel like he's a guy who could get some chunk plays. And honestly, what it came down to was best player on my board, and a lot of these other guys, I don't know if I can see the same type of fantasy ceiling. Maybe they don't have, maybe Singleton doesn't have the floor that some of these other guys have, but I think the ceiling for Singleton is just much higher.
Yeah, I could see that. And he's one of those players that when he walks off the bus, you're like, oh man, yeah, that's a running back right there. Like he looks like that guy. My issue's always been with him. Is he good at actual running back stuff, or is he just a really good athlete?
Thank you. Like I see now, I know that Garrett played running back for real, because everyone was like, "Wow, you like Singleton?" I'm like, he's super athletic, but this dude holds the ball like a bread loaf, and now I'm really big on I don't helmet scout, but I know what these colleges coach, and Penn State does not coach technique. Look at all of these hyper athletes they put into the NFL, both sides of the ball that aren't polished. And that's what I see with Nick Singleton. Cause you're right. Like I see like glimpses of Ollie Gordon, Braylon Allen, these young guys that have that high ceiling if they get in the NFL, but just like the polish, he'll never grade out for me until I figure out how to properly adjust. So I get it.
All right, Wackerly, who you got at 203?
So I'm going tight end, and I know we said this is a super flex draft. We didn't say tight end premium, but I play in majority tight end premium if it's a super flex league. So I'm just going to assume that this is a premium league. I know that
it is now.
Tight end's kind of like the last position that I scout personally, because I just, I like some tight buns, but I don't like tight ends.
Ayo.
But no, like Kenyon Sadiq, like when you watch Oregon, he sticks out to you because he's 6'3", 245. He's chiseled, and he's just a really good athlete, and he can catch the football. So I know that historically, like those kind of guys go in the first round, and that's where I've seen him being mocked. And he when I have watched him, like he does show some route running capabilities, break tackle capabilities. So I think the more and more as the season goes on and people start to dig in and do their scouting work, like Kenyon Sadiq's going to creep into the first round of these rookie drafts.
Well, if Jonah Smith and Kyle Pitts had a baby, and I mean that, like,
I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause he's a phenomenal blocker, and like
that's
a little bit
pretty high praise.
Yeah. Everyone was like Kenyon Sadiq, and I'm like, oh, we got another one. And I went in like, I'll watch this tape, and then the blocking, I'm like,
yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he can break free. So I like him a lot.
Interesting. All right. Now I got to watch tight end tape. Dang it. Usually say that for like March, April.
Love, like better than Loveland. Do you like him more than Loveland?
It's different flavors, but like, different flavors. Yeah. Like I liked,
I think he's a better athlete.
Yeah. He's a better athlete than Loveland, but like we don't get a lot of the polish that we got from Loveland. It's just that raw blocking, man. Like that blocking at 6'3", like you can deploy him like Jonah Smith, but he runs routes and catches passes like Kyle Pitts did in college. So that's just, it's really where he goes. Like Arthur Smith is probably somewhere in a basement, just super excited, heavy breathing, watching his tape,
All right. I'm up. And at this point for me, part of this is just, this is the format. Like it's super flex, and this is where I want to take my home run shots. And I think this is an absolute home run shot. Could I strike out swinging? A lot of home run hitters do, but this guy could end up being one of the top quarterbacks to go in the draft this year. And so I'm going with John Mateer, quarterback out of Oklahoma. He's dealing with a hand issue right now, broke his hand. Looks like he's going to miss about a month. So that is unfortunate because he was playing really, really well, looking good. He's a good athlete. He's a little bit undersized compared to some other quarterbacks, but he moves around really well, gets yards with his legs, really snappy thrower. Ball just kind of jumps off his hands. He's a little sporadic at times, but overall, he was somebody that was really climbing up my board. And I think this injury is going to kind of lessen that again, especially now that we have some other quarterbacks rising up boards as well. But here, just if you even get sort of close on hitting on a quarterback, look at where we are with Jackson Dart right now. He went most leagues, very end of your first, some leagues beginning of your second in super flex leagues. You're getting a first plus easy for him now. Easy. And he hasn't even taken a snap. Hasn't even taken a snap yet. So just because of the value of the position and how these guys can move up, I think for me, any quarterback that is even going to sniff first round is going to be an automatic take for me every time in the early second without a doubt. So any of you guys have any issue with Mateer here, or is just like, yeah, he's not my flavor, but I get it?
No, I don't have any issue with it. I like Mateer. I saw some people comping him to like Baker, just with like, it's not the passing. It's more like the attitude of the way he plays the position. Like he's got that gamer mindset.
And he plays at Oklahoma, which I'm sure helps.
Yeah. And he's kind of similar size, well-built kid, throws like a baseball player, different arm angles and whatnot. But dude, it sucks. He broke his hand.
Yeah.
He looks like Jackson Dart and Baker Mayfield to me because it's the mobility and how he moves with Jackson Dart. But like you said, everything else about him reminds me a lot of Baker. Here's what I don't like about him, Garrett, since you asked. I think that he should go where Fernando Mendoza went at the least. I think that's how I feel about him. And like in my head, I don't think Lenore Sellers comes out. So if like, let's say in the future, I think John Mateer might be even higher than what we're saying. So you got to steal. Like this is Kenyon, Sadiq, and John Mateer the first time I have felt sniped since we started here. And I knew I had to make some decisions.
Yeah. That's what we get for doing a 2026 mock in September.
Yep. Way too early. All right. So Jagger, you got sniped twice. Mm-hmm. So who do you end up going with here?
I'm just going to assume that a guy that I really like is going to be there. So I'm going to go with Jacoby Lane. I was blown away by his tape because I like Makai Lemon a lot. Jacoby Lane and Makai Lemon might be the best wide receiver combo in college because you've got like the best of both worlds there. I could see Jacoby Lane going first round as easy as I can. Makai Lemon, maybe like back end. I'm not talking top 15, but sure. I definitely think that he could be a top 50 player. And I've loved everything that I've seen from him. And he's a huge reason that these quarterbacks and these wide receivers, I think this is an underrated deep class here. Cause like at the 205, granted, it's not even November yet. It's not even October yet. And I'm like excited about the 205. This could change. You know?
I hear you. All right. So Jacoby Lane goes there. Andrew, 206. Who you going with, man?
Yeah, somebody's got to do it, and I'm going to do it. And it's mainly just because of like you said, the currency of the position. I'm pulling Arch Manning off the board, man. I know this is draft eligible in 2026, and most of us expect him to go to 2027. That's at least what I do, but he is eligible. So if I'm taking a shot at a quarterback, I know the start of the season has been great for Arch. We want to talk about guys that you can draft at where I got him in the 206, and then later in your fantasy football leagues, trade him for much more than you just drafted him for. It's probably a guy like Arch Manning. Let him go into the NFL, show a little bit of that rushing upside, a little bit of the arm talent, maybe mature a little bit over the next couple of weeks of the college football season. But if there's somebody that I can sell for more down the road at this point in time, I'm just going to do it with a Manning.
The thing that helps for him too, and all of these quarterbacks, but specifically guys like Manning that are playing for an elite program that is very likely to play in the college football playoffs, all of that early season stuff would be forgiven if he has a Will Howard type run in the college football playoffs where he's lighting teams up and he's putting up 3 touchdowns and he's hitting guys with that. Like, people will forget all about the Ohio State game if that happens. But if he just shows us so playoffs, then it's gonna be like, we saw it week 1. We knew it. Like, so he's got a chance to redeem himself, but people could easily double down too and say, like, yeah, this is who we thought he was. So definitely hope for him.
I also think too, you look at maybe this is just reading way too much tinfoil hat into it, but like you look at the last name on the jersey and you're telling me that Eli and Peyton don't have connections that are going to make sure that Arch is a first round pick in the NFL draft. He's going to be a first round pick no matter when he comes out. I just think those guys are going to have somebody in one front office somewhere that's going to be like, do me the favor, draft Arch.
They're Dion, but more effective, you know, because it's like, hey, we scheduled a meeting instead of a series of tweets. You know?
Right. They're going to be subtle and low key about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. I knew this is where J-Wack was going. He had to go with him here.
I mean, one last thing on Arch though, like,
okay,
dude, everyone was like, "Oh, he's back, dude." He played Sam Houston State last week. Like that, I thought it was so corny when he won that rushing touchdown and then was standing over the kid like he just beat Ohio State or something. I was like, get the hell out of here. I don't know. It's just like super corny to me, and I still think he's playing hurt. So it's just the weird throwing motion and the wincing when he's throwing. It's I don't know. I hope he comes back next year.
Supposedly, I was reading an article the other day that somebody, I don't know if it was a quarterback coach or somebody, messed with his mechanics in the offseason and changed his mechanics from the year before to this year. So
why is he working with someone else? He's got Peyton and Eli, like, you know,
right.
I mean, his grandpa. So
I was about to say, did they send him to David Cutcliffe? Because, like, if you know the Mannings and their history, like they'd wheel David Cutcliffe in a wheelchair to fix the mechanics that they had to.
Look, yeah, I fully understand. It's a pick that you can look back and be like, yeah, he drafted him because of the Manning last name, and that's why he went there. Or we could look back at this and be like,
what a steal.
Just 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, we were all talking about Arch Manning as the #1 quarterback in the class, and now he just drafted him at the 206. So when I'm in the mid-second round here, it's like, I'm going to swing for the fence there on that.
There's a lot of season left, so he could totally redeem himself. So yeah, nothing wrong with picking him here, Andrew. I mean, like, if we're actually in a league and let's just say we're doing a supplemental rookie draft, like, and you're drafting for value, like, that's a name that's probably gonna hold value somewhat, and it's a good price to pay.
He'll have a much longer leash than some of these other names for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm 207 here. I'm up. I'm taking my guy at quarterback right now, Josh Hoover from TCU. Had another really good game last week versus SMU, threw for 5 touchdowns. This kid just sticks out to me when he throws the football, dude. It's just it just bounces off his hands. It comes out of his hand really nice, and he just places it wherever he wants. And then talking about, like, understanding the offense and just being able to, I don't know how to put it into words, but, like, there's some guys that can play the quarterback position and, like, ball out from that position and just distribute and, like, go and win games because they understand playing that position. And there's other guys that are just doing what the coach tells them to do and, like, kind of robotic and not just loose and free flowing and playing the game. And he plays it from, like, a point guard type of way. He's a little undersized at 6 foot, but I said it on the quarterback show. Like, I really like this kid. I think he's going to continue to gain some steam like he already has been. So it'll all depend on how he performs in the bigger games coming up later in the season. But yeah, Josh Hoover, I like him. Have you guys had a chance to watch him at all since our quarterback show?
I can't find it, dog. I'm searching. Like, I'm assuming I haven't looked at this week too much of what new A22's out, but, like, I've got my cup on the road. Like, anybody got that all 22 too? You know,
I got you, dude. No, I got you. I'll set you up after this show.
There we go. All right. At 208, I have Denzel Boston. I had a hard time with this one. I could have gone a lot of different directions, and it does kind of feel like we're in a little bit of a kind of a new tier here of just who's somebody that has some upside. What's a name you kind of like here? So I am on board the Denzel Boston train. Talked about him a little bit last week. He's not a ridiculous athlete like some of these other guys are, but he does have that more traditional X type of frame. And I think even though he's not lightning quick, I think he's a very smooth operator. And so I like the movement skills paired with the body size. We'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. He's another one that I'm watching big this week against Ohio State. Want to see what he can do in that type of game. That will either, that could make his ranking very volatile for me, where it could bump him kind of outside of this top 24 range, or it could be like, hey, maybe he deserves to be closer to the top 12. So really curious to see how this plays out for him. So let's go to Jagger. You get your final pick here, man.
Yeah. I really had to think about how I wanted to spend it, because I really could see a lot of these players go in here, like Le'Veon Moss. A lot of people like Darius Taylor. I really question that level of competition. I like Deion Burks a lot, but I have been ahead of consensus, and I'm going to remain ahead of consensus. I think that Eli Stowers is going to be a highly drafted tight end. This is a hot take. I think he's the closest thing to Brock Bowers as far as usage and how he should be used. I'm not saying that he's going to immediately come out and put up generational numbers right away, but if you look at how Vanderbilt used him, it's exactly like Georgia used him. He is their wide receiver one. They run the ball with him. It is just Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers at Vanderbilt. That's it. I mean, I love the athleticism. He is just a pure receiver. They even give him handoffs. He's someone that I think, yeah, he may not block as much as other people, but why would you want him blocking? That's how I felt about Brock Bowers as well. Mm-hmm. This is a name that you guys are going to need to know. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go around the Terrence Ferguson range of draft picks there, and he can get on the field a lot faster because of that receiving. We're already seeing that with the Rondé Gadsden. If you want to see like a pure receiver, him already starting to pop now.
Yeah, definitely a name that's on the rise, and especially in a tight end class where right now there's just not a lot. He definitely is one of the few that kind of bubble towards the top there. So we're wrapping it up here. We've got 3 picks left. Andrew, you get the 210.
I want to take the currency of the quarterback position. So I'm going to go with Drew Allar from Penn State. I think it's definitely a kid who I wish I would have seen a little bit more out of him so far to start the year. But they've been beating up on teams that are they're just not in competitive game scripts. He's got a pretty good game this week against Oregon that's going to come up, so that'll be interesting to watch how Allar can play here. But he's got the size, 6'5", 240, cannon of an arm. Like I said, probably still need to clean up some of the actual mechanics and some of the accuracy, but a player who definitely has some physical traits that I would be looking at. And just like I said, if any of these guys can become starting quarterbacks in the NFL at any point, it feels like the price you're paying to get them on your fantasy teams here at the 210, you're going to get double that in the trade market.
Yeah. And I love the game theory of this, because that's a big part of it. Some of it is scouting and getting the right guys, but some of it just is, hey, how do I win at fantasy football? And getting a quarterback that you can sell for more later, even if you don't love the player, is a great way to kind of get that extra currency. So we're down to our second to last pick here. J-Wack, who are you going with?
I am going with Alabama receiver Jeremy Bernard. I've watched a little of this kid, and from what I've seen, good playmaker, runs really crisp routes, can really do it all. What you ask out of a wide receiver. Good size too, 6'1", 205. Leading receiver for Alabama right now with Ryan Williams missing a couple games. But I like what this kid has shown. I'm curious to see where he ends up, like in the wide receiver pecking order once everybody's gets through the tape, because I think once you get the opportunity to like watch the all 22, like he's going to stick out a little more than where we're taking him here, because I think he's a little more nuanced as like a route runner and getting separation and all those types of things than what he's getting valued at right now, I guess.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. He's a player that I told Jagger to watch in our wide receiver episode, because I said he's a really good route runner, and he stuck out to me a little bit on tape. Just think he's so just, it feels safe that I feel like he's going to go in and be a very good, maybe not a great wide receiver, but a good wide receiver for an NFL team. And I just feel like he's a player that's like, he's not going to be able, or he's not going to struggle to find his way onto the football field at the next level.
I agree 100%, man. And I watched the all 22, and where I struggle to rank him is because I just know exactly what he is as a prospect. And I don't mean that as a bad way. I mean that as a good thing, where I think he can come in right away and be a Chris Godwin style slot. I think that's where his best bet is, because he doesn't have a lot of that top end speed, but he is so damn crispy, knows where to be at. Very, very strong hands. So like, I would like to see someone who uses that style offense. Like, like the Jaguars to maybe upgrade from Parker Washington to someone like Jeremy Bernard, the Panthers, depending on what they want from Jalen Coker. I just don't think Xavier Legette is it, you
Browns.
know? So yeah, the Browns can 100% use Jeremy Bernard right now. I think he's better than Jerry Jeudy. And personally, I just don't like Jerry Jeudy that much. So there's a lot to like. That's
Softer
what it
than
is. These receivers. Yeah. These receivers, there's a lot of flavors. Draft capital is going to, and like where they land at is what's going to do a lot of the ranking going forward.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get to the final pick here. I am up and I'm going with Jace Brown, wide receiver, Kansas State. A player that we talked about a little bit after our wide receiver show, a guy I just tend to like a little bit more than consensus. And there's other players that I could have gone. I thought about going, just the quarterback route just for another home run possibility. There's still some running backs out there, a Katron Allen, a Jamal Haynes, like guys that could end up being something at the next level. But right now, I just really like what I see out of Jace Brown, things that he can do after the catch. He even had a 75-yard rushing touchdown earlier on in the season. Just a lot of good movement skills out of this player. He gets buried a little bit because it's Kansas State and nobody's really caring or watching them. But I think he's a player that's a little underrated. And I'm willing to I wanted to get him in here. I wanted to get him on this show. So I'm going to pick him here at pick 24. So wrapping up the second round here, we have at 201, Justice Haynes, at 202, Nick Singleton, at 203, Kenyon Sadiq, at 204, John Mateer, at 205, we have Jacoby Lane, at 206, Arch Manning, 207, Josh Hoover, 208, Denzel Boston, at 209, Eli Stowers, at 210, Drew Allar, at 211, I keep getting his first name wrong. Is it It's not Jermaine. It's Jeremy. Like how do you pronounce it?
Jeremy. Like
it's like Jeremy, except they spelt it unfortunately. Like
okay, so it is Jeremy.
What if we called you Jeremy? Yeah,
right. Like I keep feeling like that's wrong, and that's
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeremy Bernard, and then at 212, Jace Brown. So
terrible pick there at the end. Just awful. Pick. Yeah, it's really bad.
Watch tape on him.
It was almost as bad as the Arch Manning pick, huh?
Dude, so I think like the my guys are starting to take shape a little bit within our group. Like I think Josh Hoover is kind of like a my guy that you guys haven't really ranked, and then Casey Concepcion's kind of Jagger's guy. Yeah. I'm trying to place someone with you, Andrew and Garrett. Like, what would you guys say at this point, or kind of like your guys in this class?
Like a guy who's not at the top of the list, because I really like Jordyn Tyson, but I don't want to pick him because he's the number one. I guess if I had to pick another guy that's like a little bit further down the board, I really do like Antonio Williams. I think Antonio Williams is a really good wide receiver.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one for you.
At this point, I don't know that I have my guy. Like for me, once I start really digging into tape, I'll have like 3 or 4 of them. Because
whose shirt am I gonna buy you this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Jared sends me a random shirt of a guy or a football card. Yeah.
What's your birthday again? What is it?
In June 13th.
Oh. So I always send Garrett I have Javonte Williams sweatshirt I sent him. Who else, dude?
Tajay Spears. A Trey Benson football card.
For a while, it was like those guys, every single one always like tore their knee.
So I was waiting for Trey Benson to just die.
Yeah.
And then who was it? Who was it this year? Oh, this
DJ
one was
Giddens.
It was DJ Giddens, which I wasn't that high on him. You just hated him. So I seemed high by comparison.
Yeah.
I noticed that me and Jared have the same type because I was like, I too hated DJ Giddens. Like,
I had him at running back 11, and Jared's like, no, he's at 20.
What, running back 11's not even relevant. God.
Exactly. I was like, how is he my guy at 11? But Jared's like, no, I have him at 20. Give me Taj Brooks, baby.
Oh, everyone lost.
Taj Boyd.
Yeah, seriously. But no, I'm looking forward to going through this process with you guys this year because Garrett and I have been doing it for a long time now. So it'll be fun to bounce, thoughts off you guys as we go through the season.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We've really, really enjoyed this college show that we've been doing. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying it as much as we have. Make sure to like and subscribe everything we're doing here on YouTube. If you're listening to this in podcast form, we appreciate that as well. Make sure you stay tuned. We literally every single day of the week, Monday through Friday, we will have an episode of something coming out Dynasty Nerds wise. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.